Freeman Health has announced that it will establish a residency here in Fort Scott, reopening a much-needed emergency room. I'm Anthony Saviello. I'll have more coming up.
Plus, authorities in Carthage, Missouri investigate a suspicious death. And how long some drivers on US 69 in Cherokee County can expect road work to continue.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. Freeman Health is taking over the emergency room in Fort Scott. The news comes years after hospitals have struggled to open and stay open in the area. In 2018, Mercy announced it would close in the face of declining patient numbers and shrinking reimbursement. In 2022, Noble Health had plans to reopen the hospital, but those plans fell through. And then Ascension Via Christi stepped in, only to end its ER operations in 2023. Anthony Saviello has more details from Freeman's announcement.
We are here this morning to announce our upcoming presence right here in Fort Scott and in Bourbon County.
After years of not knowing whether or not Fort Scott would ever get an established medical facility, residents now have an answer.
Are so thrilled to have the Freeman family join us here and help us. We do not now have to rely on our EMTs, who are wonderful, to get us somewhere. And now we can have quicker, faster care to a higher level hospital if needed.
As it stands right now, this facility is really nothing more than a barren wasteland. But with Freeman taking over, not only will the emergency room be reopened, they'll also provide 10 inpatient hospital beds with many more services to come.
Absolutely be open to further development. We want to get the emergency room up and running. We want to get the 10 beds at the hospital open, but then absolutely we want to really look at the whole blueprint for services, and it will expand far beyond what we're announcing today.
Some who attended the announcement welcome Freeman with open arms.
A great answer we have here is a great day in Fort Scott. This is a fantastic announcement. This is a benefit to Bourbon County and the citizens of Fort Scott, and it's life-saving and life-supporting.
The truth still remains that Fort Scott has struggled to keep a hold of a medical facility, but with this announcement from Freeman, there may be hope for the future. In Fort Scott, Anthony Saviello, KOAM News.
CEO of Freeman, Paula Baker, says Freeman's presence will not be fully established until April of 2025. However, she went on to say it is the intention of Freeman to expedite the process to care for the people for Fort Scott as soon as possible. Lindsay Gaffney joins us now with a first look at weather.
Well, temperatures now cooling down to about 80. Clouds are starting to roll in, and temperatures across the region pretty universal. We got 79 in Neosho, 81 still in Independence, and you can kind of see those winds shifting because we do have some storms rolling in. As of right now, they got a couple severe thunderstorm warnings, but they are starting to dissipate as they move into the area. You can kind of see they were a lot stronger, but they're moving away from that boundary. So when they move into our area, we likely may get some rain showers, but nothing too severe tonight. And we are looking forward to having some warmer temperatures in the next couple of days, and I'll give you more details in just a bit.
All right, thanks, Lindsay. And we have a still developing story out of Carthage as authorities investigate the discovery of a body in a camper trailer. The discovery was made today just before noon on private property on the 600 block of North Main. Authorities closed down North Main and wrapped the investigation scene in police tape. Carthage police are looking into the possibility the body was transported from somewhere else.
So we're looking into the possibility that the possible crime could have occurred somewhere else, and the trailer just got transported to Carthage.
I see. Can you tell us any other location maybe where it was transported from?
The two locations I've heard possibly was near the Kansas City area or possibly Pittsburgh, Kansas.
Carthage police have asked the public to avoid this area for the time being. No word yet on the identity of the person who was found dead. A federal judge today sentenced a Galena, Kansas man who shot at police during a high-speed chase from Joplin into Kansas. 36-year-old Adam Kassler pled guilty to being a felon in possession of a firearm. It stems from a February 2023 incident where he led Joplin police on a chase that crossed into the Kansas border. During that chase, authorities say he fired a gun at officers. He is sentenced to 13 years and 6 months in federal prison. Authorities say all the people living in a Joplin apartment house escaped unharmed from a fire there. The fire broke out this morning at a building at 2nd and South Pearl near the downtown area. It was an older house that had been separated into apartments. Authorities say all the people escaped, but several cats died. Investigators say the fire was accidental. They say it started in the kitchen of one of the apartments and then spread through the attic. Drivers on US 69 in Cherokee County should be aware of some road work. KDOT began a resurfacing project this week, starting at US 400 on 69 and continuing south for about 18 miles to the roundabout at K66. Flaggers and a pilot car are guiding one-lane traffic through the work zone during daylight hours. You can expect delays of up to 15 minutes. They say, weather permitting, the road work should be finished by mid-September. The 60th annual Bushwhacker Days kicked off today in Nevada, Missouri. It features food, fun, and live music. We sent photojournalist Franz Wallace there to check it all out.
There we go. Good job, boys.
The zipper was really scary.
Why?
Because it never stopped moving, and you're just always spinning, and I'm still shaking.
Because I love it spinning around.
Is it fast or is it slow?
It's slower, but I love being it slower. The airplane, the horse, that one.
And out of the airplane and the horses, which one was your favorite so far?
The airplane.
Why?
It go up in the air.
Bushwhacker Days continues through Saturday with other events, including a baby contest, a scavenger hunt, and a parade. Coming up, cracking down on vaping.
Lawmakers on Capitol Hill blast federal officials for not doing enough to curb the use of illegal e-cigarettes among children. I'm Connor Hansen in New York. I'll have more on this story coming up.
A review of hundreds of studies suggests climate change is affecting our cardiovascular health. The research in JAMA Cardiology finds extreme temperatures and hurricanes are strongly linked with increased cardiovascular disease and death from it. Older adults and racial and ethnic populations are disproportionately impacted. Having more depression as a young adult could mean worse thinking and memory skills in middle age, especially for Black adults. That's according to a new study in the journal Neurology. Researchers say racial inequalities need to be considered when looking at ways to reduce dementia risk. Federal officials were grilled by Congress over their enforcement of vaping products marketed towards children. Now, lawmakers accuse the FDA of moving too slowly. Fox News correspondent Connor Hansen has the story.
Cracking down on the teen vaping trend. This week, the Department of Justice and the FDA announced a new task force to address illegal e-cigarettes being sold in the U.S.
I'm still struggling to get over my nicotine addiction, and I blame it all on the blueberry ice vape.
The FDA started enforcing a ban on flavored e-cigarettes marketed towards children in 2020, but lawmakers aren't satisfied with the results.
The FDA cannot create a functioning market of regulated tobacco products through fines and warning letters alone.
Senators pointed out examples they found of illegal flavored vapes being sold.
These illegal products, clearly designed for kids by their flavors, are being sold in FDA's shadow of their building headquarters, less than a mile from your headquarters.
FDA representatives told the lawmakers they are bogged down and need more resources, but they have started to seize illegal products, take legal action, and impose fines on manufacturers and distributors. On the same day, New York officials announced a $27 million investment in preventing youth vaping after a settlement with the e-cigarette company Juul.
Here in New York, almost 1 and 4 high school students reported vaping nicotine in 2020.
According to a 2023 National Youth Tobacco Survey, more than 2 million teens reported using e-cigarettes, down from more than 5 million in 2019, after Congress raised the minimum purchase age to 21. Right now, there are only 23 e-cigarette products that are approved by the FDA. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
Well, Lindsay is next with a complete look at your forecast, and later we'll meet a Neodesha, Kansas high school graduate, soon to be playing golf at the D1 level.
Well, it's looking pretty good so far, but we do have that chance of an isolated shower or thunderstorm passing tonight. But taking a look outside downtown Joplin right now, you can see a few clouds, and this is out from the Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex. It's also a little bit breezy as well. We do have those storms being pushed in, and mostly we're dealing with some stronger wind gusts with any of these storms. But as you can see, they started off pretty strong. We had a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings along that boundary, although most of these storms are pushing further away from the boundary, which is still north of Kansas City. So when they get far enough away from the boundary, we're not really going to see those strong storms anymore. They really start to fall apart, which is what we were thinking would happen. They get into our environment, which is way less favorable for storm development. You can start to see them falling apart. May still get some showers, especially in our western counties, and then a little bit later on tonight, we do expect to have that boundary pass by, which we may have another thunderstorm or two passing by, but not going to be severe. We're looking pretty good, but you can see that boundary with those new storm developments still north of Kansas City, moving pretty slow. We'll keep an eye on it though. In the next couple of days, outside of these storm chances, we do have temperatures warming up to the mid-90s. So this weekend, getting up to about 93, 94. It's going to be pretty hot with the heat index and humidity as well, maybe reaching into the triple digits. So stay hydrated out there. Heat is the silent killer for all weather-related phenomena. It is one of the deadliest weather-related phenomenon, and surprisingly not tornadoes. It is heat. We also have a couple chances of rain throughout the next 24 hours, which may keep us cool, but it also may add to that humidity. So still going to be hot, unfortunately. Let's take a look at that future track. So we've got these storms right now pushing through, and you can see starting to fall apart as it moves into those western counties, but still may get some rain. But outside of that, nothing too severe. And as of right now, the storm that we were expecting to pass by around midnight is going to be east of Kansas City, so moving more towards Springfield, not really in our area. So we may be clear tonight. We'll keep an eye on it still, but it's looking pretty good so far. Tomorrow, getting up to about 93 degrees in Joplin and surrounding counties. I mean, Veneta getting up to nearly 100, Tulsa also 99. It's going to be pretty hot tomorrow, and the rest of the weekend getting pretty hot, especially with those humidity values as well. Still have a couple more chances of rain on Saturday morning. Systems moving pretty slow. We were expecting to move in Friday night, but kind of hanging back. So we're more expecting it to be coming in Saturday. And as you can see, it passes. Our environment's still not so favorable for these storm developments by Friday morning, but in the afternoon, we can still see some development that may be sparking up a thunderstorm or two Saturday afternoon. So we've changed it from storms on Friday night into isolated showers or thunderstorms Saturday. We'll keep an eye on it. Like I said, outside of that, still temperatures getting up to mid to lower 90s this weekend, humidity values above 50 to 60%. So it's going to be really hot and humid, pretty muggy. We've got another chance of showers and storms on Wednesday, dropping those temperatures down to about 89. So we've got a nice little cool day on Wednesday, but other than that, it's going to be really sunny and really hot.
I appreciate you calling 89 cool.
Well, you know,
it still feels like it's like 98.
But when you look at all the 90-degree temperatures in a row, you see 89 and you're like, yes, that sounds amazing.
Thank you for giving me at least one 80-degree day in that 10-day.
Unfortunately, this may be your last. It might be moving into the mid-90s.
I don't like that.
For the next couple of weeks, even warmer than that as we move into July and August.
All right, thanks,
Sorry
Lindsay.
about that.
Well, coming up, looking into airline safety issues.
The head of the FAA says his agency is partly to blame for a recent string of airline safety violations. I'm Mike Emanuel in Washington. I've got the details coming up.
If you're miserable at work, you're in good company. A new Gallup survey finds more than half of workers in the U.S. and around the world are disengaged from their jobs, with 50% of American employees watching for or actively seeking new jobs. 49% of workers in the U.S. and Canada reported daily stress, with women experiencing even higher levels than their male counterparts.
When you have organizations that are poorly run, you can see that the amount of unnecessary stress that is added to a human being's life is tremendous. In fact, somebody who is actively disengaged at work compared to someone who is engaged at work, there is a 60% difference in terms of how much daily stress that they are experiencing.
Gallup CEO adds one of the single biggest contributors to that stress is when employees don't have the things they need to do their jobs. That, he says, comes down to management. Well, the head of the FAA says his agency is partly to blame for a recent string of airline safety violations. Fox News Chief Washington correspondent Mike Emanuel has more from Washington.
The head of the FAA admitting for the first time on Thursday that the agency could have done more to prevent recent airline safety incidents, including the January mid-air emergency that saw a door panel blow out of an Alaska Airlines flight. FAA Administrator Matt Whitaker getting grilled by lawmakers on the Senate Commerce Committee, many of whom blame the agency for what some have called lax oversight of Boeing's safety procedures, claiming a culture of trust has been eroded across the organization.
The turbulence today should have been on their radar for years. And personally, I think the FAA has a role.
The January incident led to significant allegations against Boeing, with some officials accusing the manufacturer of cutting corners and maximizing profits at the expense of safety. The FAA is now boosting the use of in-person inspectors at Boeing factories, and a ban on the Boeing MAX 9 remains in effect. Whitaker claims it's part of a big cultural shift toward putting safety front and center.
Or is there a month-by-month expectation of how Boeing returns to production levels?
There is not, and that has not been part of our discussions. Our discussions have been focused around making sure these safety metrics are in place.
And moving forward, Whitaker is vowing to be more aggressive when it comes to quality control.
We have been too much in reactive mode, waiting for some event to occur. So we're shifting to a much more proactive approach.
Last month, Boeing sent a quality improvement plan to the FAA. It's reportedly still under review. In Washington, Mike Emanuel, Fox News.
4 more states have joined the U.S. government's landmark antitrust suit against Apple. According to a court filing, Indiana, Massachusetts, Nevada, and Washington have joined the lawsuit. That brings the total number of non-federal plaintiffs to 19 states, plus the District of Columbia. The U.S. government and the states sued Apple in March. They accuse iPhone maker of illegally monopolizing the smartphone market. Up next, 2 competitive eating heavyweights clash for the first time in more than a decade. We're going to tell you how you can watch it. The ultimate rivalry will be reignited on Labor Day, and it will be putting stomachs to a test. Netflix has announced professional competitive eaters Joey Chestnut and Takeru Kobayashi will be facing off in a hot dog eating contest. It'll be called Chestnut versus Kobayashi Unfinished Beef, and it will be streamed live on September 2nd. Chestnut is the world record holder, while Kobayashi popularized the sport in 2001. The Netflix announcement comes a day after Chestnut was banned from the Nathan's contest because he signed a deal with a rival plant food company. Kobayashi was also banned in 2010 due to a contract dispute. Hey, you gotta make money somehow. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports is coming your way. A church in Pittsburgh hosts an open house for its new child care center. Plus, Oklahoma lawmakers react to the state Supreme Court ruling on a reparations case for survivors of the Tulsa Race Massacre.
You're watching the 4 states' most watched news.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. A Pittsburgh Child Care Center is expanding to meet local demand for infants. KOAM's Amber Jenkins has more.
Sunshine Child Care Learning Center's expansion will add more availability for infants and non-school age children. Workers say the biggest demand is for infant care in their area.
That's where we put our attention to, and that's what this site here was specifically designed for.
There's not very many childcare in Girard. There's not much in Pittsburgh. Like people from Arma, things like that, they don't have childcare. So it is very nice to have facilities like this, to have a childcare and be able to provide it and not have to worry when you're a parent to take your kids somewhere or figure out where they're going to go.
The expansion was more than $300,000 at no cost to the church. An out-of-county grant by an anonymous donor funded the expansion.
It was from a different location. They heard of the project, wanted to know more about the project. 2 phone calls later, they supported the project, and we had funds, and off we were running.
The child care waitlist already has more than 42 families willing to pay $179 weekly for preschool and child care. The child does not have to attend Victory Life's church to be a part of the child care center.
The wait list is a first come, first serve. By the time we get to some of those, they've already found child care, whether it be a family member or an in-home service. And we understand that, but it's a first come, first serve. We have a wait list and we just take them in the order that they call.
Reporting in Pittsburgh, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
For more information about Sunshine Child Care Learning Center, you can go to our website at koamnewsnow.com. The U.S. Supreme Court unanimously ruled to preserve access to the widely used abortion medication mifepristone. This was the court's first abortion decision since conservative justices overturned the federal right to an abortion 2 years ago. The 9 justices were unanimous, finding the abortion opponents who brought the case lacked the legal standing to sue the FDA. 3 states, Kansas, Missouri, and Idaho, are working to return the issue to the courts, with plaintiffs directly impacted. Well, yesterday we brought you an update on the court battle over reparations for survivors of the Tulsa Race Massacre of 1921. The lawsuit has been at the state Supreme Court for nearly a year. Devin Lyon has response from one state lawmaker who's not happy with the high court's ruling.
The decision was despicable.
State Representative Regina Goodwin is just one of several people unhappy with the decision by the state Supreme Court Wednesday morning.
They not only dismissed the case, but they dismissed the humanity of Miss Randall, of Miss Fletcher, of the Hughes Van Ellis family, and for many folks in this community that for 103 years have been going through this whole system that has not been just.
Fox 23 has brought you extensive coverage of the last survivors of the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre suing the city of Tulsa, demanding reparations. They filed a lawsuit in 2020, but a Tulsa County judge dismissed it in 2023. The survivors' legal teams then appealed to the Oklahoma Supreme Court that same year. Wednesday, the Supreme Court upheld the district court's decision. The state justices wrote in part, with respect to their public nuisance claim, though plaintiffs' grievances are legitimate, they do not fall within the scope of our state's public nuisance statute. We further hold that the plaintiffs' allegations do not sufficiently support a claim for unjust enrichment, nor do the allegations sufficiently support a claim for the unauthorized use of name and likeness.
So they're going to have to sleep at night. I know that we're going to continue to do what's right.
In a statement from the attorneys representing the survivors, they're not only calling for the state court to reconsider, but also for the federal government to get involved. The legal team says in part, quote, in 103 years since the massacre, no court has held a trial addressing the massacre, and no individual or entity has been held accountable for it. As justice is delayed once again in the Oklahoma court system, we call upon the United States Department of Justice to open an investigation into the massacre under the Emmett Till Unsolved Civil Rights Crime Act of 2007.
I think that the legal team is going to decide. I think they're trying to lay out what their next steps are. And I think folks need to understand this, that as long as there are generations born, we're going to continue to seek justice. Many of us are affected by this decision. And the bottom line is, when you say, what do we say to the community? We're going to say what we have always said. We're going to keep on keeping on. Our spirit will never be broken. We will always remember this act of terrorism, racial terrorism that happened right in this community.
Attorneys for Fletcher and Benningfield Randall say in their statement they plan to file a petition for a rehearing with the Oklahoma Supreme Court, asking the court to reconsider its decision. A bit later, ever feel like your vacation flew by. We're going to look at new research that spells out why.
Well, it is getting warmer, but we might have the chance to cool off for the next couple of days. Taking a look outside downtown Joplin from the Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex. A little bit cloudy out there as we do have some rain kind of moving into our western counties. Not to mention it's a little breezy as well. Luckily, these storms are really falling apart. They're entering an area where it's less favorable for storm development, and it's getting a little bit too far away from the boundary that really fired these storms up. So we had a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings on them previously, but as of right now, they're really falling apart, still kind of moving into our western counties. So if you're near, Elk, Chautauqua, they're getting some rain, but nothing severe. You can kind of see the boundary forming still north of Kansas City, and it is just north of our area. That's going to continue to move into the area, but like I said, we're still in an environment that's less favorable for the storm development. And as it moves in, really likely not going to see much going on tonight. But we do have the chance for more rain showers in the next couple of days, so hopefully that'll cool us off, or it'll just add to the humidity. We are getting in the temperatures of the low 90s, but with humidity values above 40% and temperatures above the 90s, it makes it feel like we're going to be in the upper 90s and even some areas hitting triple-digit heat index values. So stay hydrated out there. Heat is the silent killer, and you don't realize it's happening, but heat stroke, heat exhaustion, very deadly. So just stay hydrated. Try not to stay out too long. Now, over the next 24 hours, we've got a couple of chances of rain showers, still all less than 20%. So isolated shower or thunderstorm here or there. About 5 a.m. this morning, that's when that boundary is really pushing through. So we may see that storm passing through, but likely, like I said, less favorable environment. We may not see much. And then tomorrow we also have another chance. But what I'm seeing is the boundary tomorrow is actually holding off until Saturday. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that. We've got the storm passing through, really just falls apart by the time it moves through our western counties, maybe get some rain, but nothing crazy. And then the storm that we really saw moving through Missouri shifted east. So now moving towards Springfield, may not even hit either of our eastern counties at all. Flashing forward to midday on Friday, we got up to about 92, 93 degrees, and Veneta got up to about 100, so it's going to be a hot day tomorrow. And like I said, this boundary is kind of holding off until Saturday morning early hours, moving pretty slow. So as it moves into the area, we've got the chance for some storm development, still in a less favorable environment until the afternoon hours on Saturday. So you can see we've got a couple of isolated storms that may fire up, especially in those western counties. And then out in Wichita, you see some more showers pushing in that may move into our area, may still fall apart before it moves in. We're not expecting any type of severe threat with any of these storms that are passing by, but it may bring just enough rain to cool us off because these temperatures are getting into the mid 90s. We got 93 on Saturday, 93 on Sunday, with humidity could feel even worse than that. And then we also have a scattered shower chances on Wednesday, bringing those temperatures down back to the 80s. So we got one 80-degree day.
Thank you for at least giving us one.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. All right, thanks, Lindsay. Well, heavy rainfall is threatening to swamp South Florida for another day this week. It comes as people scramble to clean up debris from Wednesday's downpours. Fox's Tanya Powers has the latest.
Much of South Florida underwater on Thursday after torrential rains caused flash flood conditions across the region this week, and more is on the way.
We want residents to know to stay safe, to stay inside, to avoid flooded areas, and to remain vigilant for possible hazards.
On Wednesday, forecasters say up to a foot of rain swamped parts of Fort Lauderdale, Miami, and Naples. The conditions turned streets into rivers and submerged cars up to their windshields, forcing drivers to wade through floodwater to find safety.
This has never happened. This is chaotic.
Flood watches remain in effect for more than 8 million Floridians through Friday night. People are now scrambling to clean up water and debris that seeped into their homes. Some of them just finished repairing damage after catastrophic catastrophic flooding in April 2023.
It dumped for a solid 2 hours. I have never seen anything like this before.
These storms are moving across the state just as hurricane season gets underway. It's expected to be one of the most active in recent years, and Red Cross officials are urging people across the Gulf Coast to get prepared.
Making sure that you have your emergency kits stocked and ready to go with items such as water, non-perishable food items, flashlights, but also your important documents.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has declared an emergency for several counties as they begin the recovery process. In New York, Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
Well, still ahead from southeast Kansas to the Division I level. We'll meet a Neodesha native soon to be golfing in college. A class of 2024 Neodesha High School graduate will be playing Division I golf at Nebraska this fall. KOAM Sports Director John Dales has the story on Kyle Eggers' journey to get there.
When Kyle Eggers plays golf, he's used to hearing comments like this.
Going to hole.
Which makes sense, since he's been playing the sport nearly his entire life.
My grandfather, he started me at my age of 2. We started out in the house.
That time inside the house didn't last long.
He started hitting the ball real good, and a couple of days Grandma said, get him out of the house. He's knocking pictures and lamps and everything else over.
Kyle's time being outdriven by his grandpa also didn't last long.
He was 11 or 12, and he started driving the ball as far as I was. And at 13, he started driving the ball 20, 25 yards further than me.
Once in high school, the improvement and growth continued.
Freshman year, I wanted to just become the best out there as possible, at least around in Southeast Kansas. And then I won a Southeast Kansas tournament my junior year, so that was a really good opportunity to have.
After finishing top 10 in the state all 4 years in high school and signing to play D1 golf at Nebraska, Eggers still has loftier goals.
I do want to play on the PGA Tour. That is my end goal, is to play professional golf, whether that's Korn Ferry Tour or the PGA Tour. I just want to go to the next level after college.
For now, Eggers is enjoying the last summer before his college career and still gets a pointer or two from his grandpa. John Dales, KOAM Sports.
While at Nebraska, Eggers plans to enroll in the PGA Management Program, and you can read more on this story at the sports page on our website, koamnewsnow.com/sports. We'll be right back. With summer vacation season here, it's time to unwind from the pressures of work and everyday life for a bit. But while enjoying some relaxation and fun, you may notice how the time seems to go by quicker. Fox News' Chris DeMeo takes a closer look at why researchers say our vacations zip by.
Americans are gearing up for some fun in the sun away from work. But if you find your time off always seems to be over in a pinch, you're not alone.
But the feeling that things that we enjoy go by really fast is actually pretty common.
Researchers at The Ohio State University have been studying why people process the passage of time differently on vacations.
The saying goes, the watched pot never boils. It basically builds in that intuition that if you're paying attention to the passage of time, time will go slowly. And if we are really not paying attention to time because we are enjoying what we are doing, we are just like immersed in the moment, time just goes by in a jiffy.
And because the countdown to a vacation can make the days leading up to it drag on.
Combine that with the idea that vacation itself feels really short, it almost feels like it will end before it starts.
To help you adjust your perception of time,
think about the time as the units of time and not the feeling that it gives us. We tend to trust our gut when it comes to time and just say like it feels long, it feels short. But using the number of hours or number of days actually adjusts our misperception.
Doing this could help you maximize the amount of activities you can do and the amount of relaxation you can have.
If you feel like the vacation is going to go by in a jiffy, we might actually underplan it. We might want to not book as many things as a one consequence because it just doesn't feel like a lot of time. If you're not putting enough things, that's just going to not give you the most fulfilling vacation. But if you're jam packing it, now you're going to be rushing from one thing to the other, and you're still not going to be enjoying what you're doing.
Chris DeMeo, Fox News.
My problem, I try to cram too much into it. Well, coming up, we're going to hear from a FedEx driver who couldn't believe the audacity of one porch pirate. Many online shoppers fear porch pirates, thieves who steal packages sitting outside homes. But in Columbus, Ohio, one daring thief did it right under a delivery driver's nose. Just as the FedEx worker dropped the box, the porch pirate swooped it up. Jeannie Moose breaks down the swift heist, which was caught entirely on camera.
The FedEx guy delivers a package. Knock, knock.
Oh.
Who's there? An alleged thief left the FedEx guy stunned as the homeowner answered the door.
He just took your package.
It happened in Columbus, Ohio.
I sat down and I thought I heard a movement.
The homeowner was just as shocked.
They didn't even wait for the delivery driver to leave the porch. Swooped in real quick.
Swooped in and swiped Kyle Dorch's brand new Apple Watch. Commenters were irate. The nerve. Disgraceful. Now that's brazen. Columbus police say they're investigating. We've seen bad deliveries, like when this guy tossed a computer monitor over a gate, and heroic deliveries, like when a FedEx driver in Nebraska found a rattlesnake on the doorstep, got a rake and spade, and killed it.
Basically, you just whack them with a shovel.
Yeah, kinda.
But you can't blame this FedEx delivery man for not trying to stop the thief. At first, he seemed to mistake the hooded guy for the homeowner. A blue Honda arrived just as the package was being delivered, and the thief left in it, according to the homeowner.
But it absolutely positively has to be there overnight.
Even if it gets stolen 4 seconds after delivery.
Oh.
Wow. That is brazen. That's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We're going to leave you with video of a dog enjoying a hot dog during a baseball game. Why not? Have a great night and an even better tomorrow.